chewed this line all up. So let me show you my new toy that I just got yesterday. Morning. So just to give you a quick update, I moved all the American guinea hog females and barrows over to that far 4.5 acre paddock over there, and I also moved Tootsie over there, my black smaller Duroc cross. So she's over there eating bean pods and tumbleweeds and everything that's grown up over there. And one of the reasons why I decided to put them over there is because they've been coming back. This is on the back part of my property here. This is the southeastern 10-acre quadrant roughly, and you can see here that they've kind of created a couple trails, and what they were doing is they were going out over there and they had access to that pasture, which is my neighbor's property. But you could see all these mesquite trees back here. His property doesn't have mesquite trees on it. Mine has quite a bit of mesquite trees, and so what they were doing was they were coming through this old busted fence over on this side here, and they were coming back and eating the mesquite pods. But the problem for me is that I've got a water line that's running irrigation to some nut trees, and I've already had some struggles with it. And I came to inspect them this morning, and I don't know if this is something that my pigs did or if this is something that some wildlife whatever, but I did take a look, and there is some moisture on the ground still. I've still got a couple of trees that were still hanging on. None of my walnut trees look like they're surviving though. And so, like even you can see, there's moisture around. So I think this actually happened recently, and it's possible that it's whatever has been living down in this little hole here and chewed this line all up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a coupler on here. I just need to repair this and get the water flowing again, so the few trees that I do have can actually try to make a comeback here. I don't have any straight couplers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just get as close to this damage as I can and cut a clean line on it. So I'm going to have to use an angled coupler here. I can cut this without getting rid of that emitter. Well, I might even be able to keep it in there. So we've cut out the old damaged pieces, put in a right angle coupler here, and buried this hole. I'll see if something digs its way out. So now I'm going to go over here and I'll turn the controller on manual here and test the water flow. You're always learning something. What I thought was a good idea to allow the pigs to free forage ended up costing me, but it didn't cost me as much as the food would have cost me to actually feed those pigs for the 3 or 4 months or whatever that they've been out here. But it did cost me some trees. But they've been trees that have had issues in the past. So the fact that any of them are still alive, I'm actually quite shocked. So we're gonna let this run for 5 minutes and we'll give it a little test, see how everything's flowing. What was happening was my pigs were coming back here and rooting all around where these wet spots were, and they were just pushing the emitters around. They were popping the caps off because these are adjustable emitters, and so I was having to come out here and check on all this stuff. And it was flowing a little too heavy. Same with this one here. Well, that's what was in there. There's a couple frogs down. Oh, there's another one. Another frog down in that hole. Was the smallest frog that was in there. There's 2 big frogs that crawled out first. There's one over here. I don't know where the other one went. That's how these guys survive. It's crazy to think that they survive underground like that. But yeah, those frogs, they dig underground. And like I was saying in previous videos, although the soil on top is kind of hard baked and dried out, periodically we'll get the rains, and then that actually softens up really good to the point where what you would normally have to like chip out with a pickaxe, you could just dig it up with a shovel relatively easily. Once the clay softens, lots of mineral content, vitamins, minerals, nutrients, all kinds of stuff. There's just not a lot of organic matter on the top soil, and so what ends up happening is the top gets crusted, baked on, but then you've got 4 to 6 inches down and lower, it's actually quite moist. The problem is there's not a lot of microorganisms living that far down. There are some, and I've done a few experiments where I'll wet the soil down, and then I'll set something on it, either a piece of plywood or some buckets or a planter or something along those lines, even just a tire with dirt filled in tire, and then I'll wait a week or two. And what you'll find is you'll have all kinds of bugs, like pill bugs and little roaches and even worms coming up in that area that you've moistened. So it draws them up. They're around, they just aren't able to thrive really. So that's kind of like my big mission for this farm, is to increase the organic matter in the soil. And one of the ways I do that is with pasturing my pigs and letting them manure everywhere and composting that manure to some degree for specific purposes around like my garden beds and things like that, allowing it to cure when using it with food, using it planting with food and gardens and stuff like that. But if it's just out in the field, basically it gets dried up from the sun, and then when we get the rains, we'll spread that around a little bit. And I've got a new toy to help me with that mission here. So these guys are actually doing really well. They're 9.5 weeks old. They're too big now. They've been in here for 2.5 weeks now. If you remember, these guys were still sneaking out in the fence there. So I wanted to isolate them for 2 reasons. One, I wanted to grow them out big enough that they wouldn't fit through the fence. And 2, I needed their mom to have enough time separated from them that she would dry up. So let me show you my new toy that I just got yesterday. Haven't used it, haven't gotten it set up or anything. All right, so what we've got here is, this is actually a drag rake that I would pull behind. I'm going to try to pull it with my riding mower. You can see it's got contoured spikes there. I really am only worried about getting about that much. We've got several of these teeth around, and then you just hook a chain up to this part, drag it around with the teeth down. What my hope is that I can break up this soil cap and allow a little bit of churn, allow some of the manure that has been out in the field spread out by the pigs to kind of work itself in a little bit and give me some depth so that I can scatter a little bit of some dry land pasture seed. Initially, I'm only going to try, and I don't even know if I'm going to try the whole area, if I'm going to just try part of, but the 3/4 acre paddock that I've got over there, I think I can get around having that shut down for all winter and potentially next spring too, so I can let them directly out where they had been going through a different gate, and I would just fence off around my trees to protect them so that they're not actually messing with the watering system or anything like that. So the biggest thing is I need to wait until we get a good rain to allow the soil to saturate, and then I'll bring that rake through and drag the field and see what we've got. And the idea is, like I said, just score it up. I may even go, crisscross pattern, and to help break it up a little bit, and then I'll just lightly scatter some seed in there, and then after I'm done dragging it and spreading the seed, I'll flip it over to the smooth side here where we just got the smooth bar, and then I'll just drag it with that on top of the area that we've scattered the seed to try to help kind of cover it over and give it a uniform flat cover. And hopefully that'll keep the birds and ants and everything like that from coming in and snatching all my seed up. But we'll have to see. Like I said, I may do a smaller test patch. The downside being is that whatever I don't plant now, I won't have access to next year. So you got to kind of weigh out the pros and cons. But I don't want to be feeding all the quail a bunch of expensive pasture seed either. So anyway, so that's the update for right now. And as we get more stuff done, once we get some rain and I have an opportunity to test out that drag rake, I'll be sure to update you guys. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click the bell notification so that you're notified of any future videos that we have coming out. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comment section below. Really appreciate it. Help the channel grow. If there's something more that you would like to see, please let us know that as well in the comments. And thanks for joining us, and God bless.